Hey there, my name is Meagan Clanahan. I am the co-owner of Houston Moms, and it is my pleasure to bring to you today Lemon Grove Realty Group. Kat and Aurora are joining us, and they have so many exciting things to share about the Houston housing market, how everything is looking, what you should be looking for if you're looking to buy a home. And we're going to dive into all sorts of exciting things because we know summertime is the time when people start making moves, either moving here, maybe moving across town. And we want to be here to help support you through that journey. So Kat and Aurora, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're excited to be part of this.
No, it's so fun. And Lemon Grove Realty has been a partner of ours for almost 6 months. And you may have seen our family guide to Houston, which if you haven't, we're going to pop it in the comments below because it is a fabulous resource, whether you're new to Houston or even if you have lived here for years. There was stuff on there. I've lived here for 15 years. And there was stuff on there that I was like, oh, that's such a great place. We need to do that. So everyone needs to check out the guide. We'll post it below. Kat, let's start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Kat Nichols. I have been living in Houston for the past 12 years and started in real estate right off the bat. So I had to learn the city pretty quickly. And right now I live in the Oak Forest area. I have two small girls, 3.5 and 1-year-old. And so, yeah, that's kind of the area that I specialize in, Inner Loop and around there as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And Aurora?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Venezuela, but I moved here to go to college. So I've been here for about 16 years. And I started real estate about 10 years ago. So yeah, I kind of just only knew my little area because I was a college student. And then all of a sudden had to learn the whole city, but it was cool and exciting. And right now, you know, I've lived everywhere, but right now I live in Cypress. So I do tend to do more business in the Cypress Katy area or inside the loop as well, because that's where we are.
That's perfect. And you're a mom as well, right?
Oh, yes. I do have 2 children. I have 2 boys, a 1-year-old and almost 4-year-old. So they definitely keep me busy.
Yes. So that's why I love y'all so much. I mean, you're not only powerful business women and making your way in this crazy housing market that we're dealing with now, but you're also moms who get it. And you kind of understand what moms are looking for, especially as it relates to housing, and you have kind of the different geographic areas covered. So I know we're going to learn some things today. And so let's dive right in, because obviously it's a lot of big news, right, about the housing market and how crazy it is. So let's talk about what is the market doing right now and what are we anticipating happening over the next year?
Yeah, that's definitely everybody's question. You know, anybody that we know, everybody that we meet is like, so how's the market? Is it still, you know, still hot? And the quick answer is yes.
Yes.
It is still a seller's market. It actually has been a seller's market for the past 10 years anyway. It's just been exponential because of the COVID effect of the last 2 years. But we are definitely still seeing those trends right now.
Yeah, we have currently 1.5 months of inventory, which a balanced market is supposed to have 6 months, whereas a balanced market between buyers and sellers. So it's tight. You know, if we were to shut off the market and say nobody can sell a house anymore, it would take just 1.5 months to get rid of all of that inventory that we have. So it's competitive. And I think a lot of buyers, if you're moving to Houston, and it's good to be educated on what you're expecting. That way you can put your best foot forward when you do find that dream house.
Definitely. And some areas can have, you know, a little bit more than others. So it varies, but throughout Houston, I think we're all still seeing multiple offers, houses selling within days. So I think that's a trend that is here right now, definitely. Now the next question people always ask is, well, is there going to be a crash? What's going to happen next year? And I do wish we had a crystal ball and could answer exactly what's going to happen. But there's definitely 2 schools of thoughts. You know, there are people who think a crash is coming. Now we've been hearing that since 2012, right?
Yeah.
Like every year that someone says a crash is coming. What really is most likely to happen, in our opinion, is that the market's going to stabilize and it's going to continue with a more stable growth like it was happening in the years prior. It's not going to be as exponential most likely than how it's been from last year to this year, but it will just continue the more steady growth that we've seen before that.
Okay, good to know. I mean, like we've kind of toyed with the idea of putting our house on the market just because it's like, well, we can get so much, but like, where do you go after
Then you
that?
have to buy.
Like,
Yeah. A lot of our clients are, either taking the plunge because they do want to be in a different area or somewhere specific. And a lot of them are maybe renting for a while, but it honestly is it's still a good time to buy, especially considering that the market is probably going to continue to go up. So if you don't buy now because of that reason, you might still buy higher next year.
Right.
So, it's still, if it's the right time for you, it's the right time for you. We're not really recommending waiting on that, but it is definitely going to be, it's a little bit different than if you would have done that 2 years ago. And that's what we're here for, to guide our clients and help them through those expectations.
Right.
yeah, that's awesome. And I know y'all do great at consulting with your clients and, kind of seeing where they're at, what your goals are. And I will apologize to everyone in the background. I have a couple of puppies at home who are a little excited, but that's kind of how we get through these like post-COVID times. So diving into the next question, because you guys have lived in Houston for a while. This is your territory. Let's talk about, what do you tell people who are new to Houston? Let's say you have someone from Louisiana. What do they need to do? Where do they need to go? What do they need to see?
Yeah, I think one of the first things you need to do is really explore the inner loop, especially if you're wanting to be in the city. Houston's very different from other major cities. We're more spread out. The downtown area, though it's a popular area, it's probably not the most popular area for people to go and visit. People like to be in Houston near the bayou, being near the museums in the museum district, going to the Houston Zoo. Even if you don't have kids, I mean, the zoo is a great place. It's one of the most beautiful zoos in the US. So there's lots of places to explore, and we love to sit down with our clients and talk about what's important to them. Do they want to be able to walk to a coffee shop and a restaurant, or do they want the convenience that tends to come with living in the suburbs? And we can then direct them to those areas.
Yeah, and I think most people already have an idea if they want to be like city or suburbs. Like people know kind of who they are in that sense. But we do always, even when they come to me and they say, I want to be in the suburbs, I'm like, I want you to understand distances and I want you to understand how big Houston is. So we always recommend coming to the city, exploring it, at least for, a week or a weekend before you make that decision of what area you want to be in, because they're all so different.
Yeah, and that's such an important point, because when you look at it on a map, like let's say you're going to live out in Cypress, but your job is in downtown. Do you know like that commute actually is like may not be the 25 miles that it is?
Yeah.
Like,
that's definitely one of the first questions we ask is where are you going to be working, and we try to help them in that sense. But nowadays so many people are remote, so they're like, I can be anywhere, and you're like, well, you don't want to be anywhere. You still want to narrow it down. So
and also just the distance alone too. It's like, well, that might be 20 miles away. That might take you an hour to get to where you want to go. So I always ask my clients, how many minutes do you want to be in the car? And kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
That's a solid question. And I think it's so interesting you brought up the remote part, because I'm like, I've always worked remote, but my husband is typically home most days. I mean, a lot of people are working more remote. So that does kind of open up some real estate, differences and opportunities for y'all, which is wonderful. So let's say somebody is interested in buying a home. What are the first steps they should take?
Pre-approval is the first step you need to take. I find that some clients, they have an idea of what they want to spend, but they don't know what that looks like in their monthly mortgage payment. And then you have insurance and taxes on top of that. So it's important to sit down with a lender and really figure out what your monthly budget is going to be, how much you want to put down, what loan options are available to you. And so that's the first step. And sometimes clients are really surprised at what they can afford. They might think that they have a lower budget, and really what they want and what they need and what fits their needs is going to be at a higher price point. So that's number one.
After you call us.
But where does someone get a pre-approval? It has been years since I've done this. Do you go to your bank?
So that's really where we come into place, because that's why I said before you call us, it's kind of a joke, but it's true. We will refer you to the best lenders out there to work with. Yes, someone can go to their bank and talk to them as well, but we also have trusted lenders that we've worked with for many, many years that we know will make the transaction really smooth. So we do work, you know, in partnership. They can work with any lender they want, but we do have those trusted referrals that will make the process easier as well.
And I think it's important for buyers to shop around a little bit too. Get a pre-approval letter from 2-3 lenders, see what things they're offering, see who you might connect with better, and make that decision from there.
Definitely.
That's solid advice. Cause I mean, you're going to be with them through this, you know, what's a typical, you know, like from the time you say go, like I'm ready to buy a house, I have my pre-approval letter. I mean, it's what, 30 to 60 days or more. Am I off?
So once you submit an offer and the offer is accepted, it's usually 30 days from the moment the offer gets accepted to closing. And it's really important to have a good lender because of that, because literally, what do they say? Like 25 people that work for either the lender, the appraisal, the inspector, like all these people are touching the file. And if you think about 25 people have to review the file in 30 days. So if someone takes more than 1 day to do their job, that's when you start getting delays. And a lot of buyers don't understand that at your closing date is a contract obligation. If you don't meet that closing date, you're in default of the contract. So it's important, you know, not just to look at rates, but to look at who's going to help you get, you know, meet your goals in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you trust the team around you, especially in these, you know, crazy competitive times where our houses are just going really quickly. You want to have a team like yourself on your side that's getting that offer in so you can get your dream home, right? I feel like there's so many more things we could talk about here because I have so many other questions, like brings up all of these things I used to do. But we will end it now for time's sake. However, we are going to drop all of Lemon Grove's information in the comments below. So if you have further questions, like I know I do, about where we should be looking for homes and how we should even start looking on HAR or whatever, and what the lending process looks like in more detail. We want you to have that information. So we're going to drop information for our friends at Lemon Grove Realty below. And again, we're also going to put in that amazing guide. Whether you are new to Houston or you are a veteran, I promise you, and you will find something in there that will be super helpful. I think we have almost 15 to 20 sections now. We recently updated it in the last 2 weeks to include all sorts of fun things. So even all you people down in Clear Lake who sometimes don't get hit, we have fun things for you out in Katy. We have awesome things for you. So we thank you, Kat and Aurora, for sponsoring that guide. It's been an amazing resource for our readers. And thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you, Megan. We appreciate it too.
Yeah, it was great to see you. And make sure you contact Kat and Aurora. And if you have any further questions, they'll be monitoring the comments too, I'm sure. And so if you have any specifics, go to them there as well. Until next time, we'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.